In this video, I'm going to show you how to get this output using Base44 in a step-by-step guide. Now, if you're not a developer but you're still interested in building products using AI app builders, then this video is for you. So let's get into it. Now, my screen is placed on one side, so I'll be constantly looking into the camera and on the screen. I've also zoomed in to 150%. So some of the elements that you see on the screen may be different for you on your laptop. Now, what you see on the screen is the landing page for Base44. It's base44.com, and that's their website URL. As you land on the screen, you can immediately notice that they have a chat box or an input box to enter your idea. Now, in tools like Base44, what you want to do is type out your idea, and Base44 starts building the product for you. Now, if you see in the top section itself, they have given you some examples. However, for this video, I'm going to take the simplest example possible, because what I want to show you is not how to build a most complex app, but how to get started with the basic idea in your head. Most important thing for you to check is their pricing, because you want to make sure if they have a free plan or not if you're doing this for the first time. And the idea is to start testing the product, and you would want to do that in their free plan. As you can see, they do have a free plan here. You do have a limit of 25 message credits, and I'll take you through the concept of message credits once we start using this product. They also have something called as 100 integration credits. Now, this is for someone who has built their first app and want to advance a little further. I'm back to the landing page, and here on the top right corner, they have option to start building. So you'll click on that, and you will use one of your Google accounts or simply use your email ID and login. Now, since I've already got an account with them, I'm simply going to use my Google account and proceed to login. All right, there we are. I'm in my logged in experience right now. If you see, logged in experience is slightly different from their non-logged in experience. But the way to identify whether you are logged in or not is to see the top right corner here, and it will show your name. So now we know that we are logged in. Now here we have something called as apps and super agents. Now super agents is their new feature. I will not be talking about it in this video, but it's an interesting concept to check out. So if you want to know about it, let me know in the comments. Now before we start entering the app, and I'll get to that in a second, I want to explain some of the components that you see on the chat window here. Now here we have a plus icon. When you click on it, you have an option to attach something and add from Google Drive. Now typically what you would attach is, let's say, a screenshot for your reference. You could also attach a PDF file for something that you have jotted down as an idea. You can also attach a document that you have noted your idea in. So there is a possibility for you to attach files here. So that's the plus icon. The second thing you get to see is selecting an AI model. Now, for beginners, this is not much of use. I mean, you would want to do that probably later. So for now, I'll just keep the current selection as it is. All right, then we have something called as plan mode. Now, plan mode is interesting because plan mode allows you to discuss your idea with AI before you begin to implement. Now, the difference between plan mode and implementation directly is that if you tell an idea and you want to make some changes, but the app starts building it, now you have to wait for it to complete, and sometimes you might end up getting some wrong features that you did not want in the first place. So it's very useful if you want to progress from building some simple app into something more complex. For this tutorial, I will not use the plan mode because I want to show you how you can achieve an output without doing the plan mode first. You also have voice mode, so instead of typing, you can simply voice it out. All right, so apart from that, at the bottom, you get to see your recent apps. Since this is my fresh account, I don't have any apps created yet. So once we start creating, that app will start appearing here. And you have some options to see the templates that people have created in the past. Now, this can serve as a good inspiration for you. But when you're learning to use these tools for the first time, I would recommend to start with a fresh prompt, because it teaches you how to use the prompts and how to see the output based on what you have entered. In this demo, I want to build a personal portfolio site. Now, I'm a product manager, so I will use product manager as an example. So the idea is to create something very simple, but to show you how Base44 works. Now, notice how I'm not going to complicate this prompt by adding a lot of text to it. It is possible to do that. You can go as detailed as possible, but for your first project ever, I wouldn't advise to do that. Start with something simple and then build on top of it. So I'm going to enter the prompt here to create a portfolio site. Now that's it. This is my prompt. This is all I'm going to enter, and I want to see what the output is going to be like. So let's click on enter. That's the arrow button here. When you click on it, it will start working. Your view immediately changes. Now you can see your prompt came here on the left hand side, and this is where your chats will be. And then you have the right hand side reserved for preview. Now preview is where you get to see the UI, the screens that you would get out of the portfolio site. Now on the left hand side, as you can see, it's building some key features and it has listed down all the things that it is planning to build. Now getting an output can take anywhere between 1 minute to even 8 or 10 minutes depending on the complexity of the app. For an app like this, which is just a portfolio site, it might be much faster and you will start seeing the output much quicker. So be patient. If you have entered some complex prompt, it might take some time. All right, as you can see, this particular site is getting live and the app is loading on the right hand side. And here we have it. We have a view on the right hand side, and this is called as preview. I will come to the chat window a little later. Let's check out the preview first. Now, what I notice here in the preview that it has given me a mobile view. I would want to see, let's say, a desktop view. I have an icon here at the top which says switch to desktop view. So you can click on it and now it will look like a website on a desktop. Now you have this icon here to hide the chat panel. So if you click on it, it will give you a full view of the app that you have just built. So let's take a look. What it has given me here is product manager, turning vision into products people love. And I'm Alex Mitchell. That's just an example here. And there is some about us section. We have some case studies from Alex. And so it has populated some of these examples. It does tend to look more like a SaaS product, like you don't feel like this is portfolio. So that is a design choice from Base44 that sometimes they end up looking more like SaaS dashboards or SaaS products. It doesn't look exactly like a portfolio, but that's fine because we did not give a lot of context in the prompt. We entered just one single line. All right, and you just want to check if any of these links work or not. So if I click on work, if I click on experience, yes, I get to go to those pages. So that's good. Now this output looks pretty decent. And let's come back to the chat and see what happened here. After you entered the prompt, it started doing some process and now you will notice the kind of actions it has taken in order to create this app. Now this is also a very good time to understand how AI works. It tells you that it created a hero section with name, title, tagline. This is what you see on the right hand side. This is the name, title, and tagline. So that's what you get to see in the hero section. And this is the top section of the website. Now, this is already good, but let's say we want to make some edits to it. We are not happy with the output that we are seeing. How do you go about editing a project? Now, editing can happen in two ways. Number one, you can simply add a follow-up prompt to it and make changes to the output. The second thing you can do is visual editing. Visual editing is selecting an element on the UI and then making an edit. So let's try the visual editing first because that's much more powerful. And then I will also show you how to make changes using follow-up prompts. Now, if you go to the chat window here, there's an option called as edit. As soon as you click on it and then come on to the preview becomes selectable. All right, so let's see what we can edit here. Let's say we want to remove this button called learn more. We don't really want it here. I will select this particular element and you get this options what you can do with it. So if you click on edit element, you will be prompted to enter the change that you want. So you could simply type here delete, or you can go back to the options and see what else you can do. You can edit content, you can edit the text style, colors, corners, anything else that you see here. Now, once you start your project, you can explore this at your own pace. I wouldn't want to show you every single element here because these are not super important. So for now, what I'll show you is if you want to remove this element, let's click on delete. So this option will delete the element and it comes here as you have one unsaved change. Now the UI is updated. You can see the learn more button is gone. And in order to make the change happen, you have to click on save. So if you click on save, it updates the preview and your preview will not have learn more button anymore. There you go. So we've got the edit done. Now the second way to edit this, like I mentioned earlier, is you can simply add a prompt. Now in the follow prompt, you can add more features, you can remove features that you already have, and you can do bunch of other changes. For example, here they have given you suggestions like, do you want to add a blog integration? Do you want to implement project filtering? Do you want to add PDF resume download? So these are all the features that you can add later on. For now, let me show you a simple change. Now, let's say I do not want to have testimonial section. In a portfolio, having testimonials doesn't feel right. So I want to remove this testimonial section. So I will just add a prompt, remove testimonial section from the app. Now, this is single line change. I am not giving any more context to this, but AI will understand what I'm referring to. And when I click on enter, it will start processing. All right, it has given me a confirmation that testimonial section has been removed. And let me go ahead and see what we have at the bottom here. Testimonials are gone, but we still have the navigation menu at the top. So navigation menu also needs to be changed. Now, I would have expected AI to understand that and automatically remove it from the top as well. But sometimes you have to prompt these small things and make these changes happen. So you will notice that it is not like one single line changes everything for you. Another feature I want to show you is revert. Revert to the previous versions. Now in base 44, the way the version history is maintained is based on the number of changes that you make. So here you have an icon version history. When you click on it, you get to see all the versions. If you notice, we have elegant product portfolio site. So that's the product site we created first. And that's the first prompt. The second thing that we did was remove the files, and that's the second prompt. And the current version is where we have removed the testimonials. So that's the current version we are at. If you want to go back to the first output ever, and if you want to revert to this particular version, you can click on it and you can see an option here, revert to this version. Now, as I'm clicking on this, I also see an error at the bottom of the screen. Since I do not understand this error, I'm going to simply click on revert to this version because I'm confident of the changes that I made and I'm okay with all the changes that will be reverted. Reverted is simply an action that will restore the version that was there previously, and you will start seeing that in the preview. Now I'm back to my preview here. You can see the learn more button is back. Let's also check if the testimonials are back. And we have them here. So testimonials are back as well. And what we have done is reverted to the previous version. This feature is extremely useful when you're making lots of changes and you are not happy with the current change, but you can always go back to the previous one. Now let's move on to the next step, which is the most exciting one, is publishing the app. What you have here now is a project. Now this project can be shared with people, but you want to share only the app that you have created. You don't want anyone else to see the chats. So how to do that? In base 44, at the top, you have this button called publish. When you click on it, you get to see two options. One is web and another one is mobile app. Now let's do the web option for now, and I can see the URL over here already. If you want to edit, they have an option to do that. So for example, if I want to call it product path Maria instead of Prime, I can change that and I will click on change. Now, notice one thing here. They have something called as .base44.app. When you publish an app like this is hosted on base44's domain. What does that mean? We do not have a custom domain name here. For example, I do not have mariamartin.com. Now, that is the website domain that you would have to purchase separately. And if you have it, you do have an option to do the custom domain as well. But if you're doing this project for the first time, you don't have to worry about it. This URL is as good as having a custom domain. The only difference is it will have base44.app at the end. But if you share this URL with people, everybody can see that. So there is no worry in that case. So I'm going to click on change because I changed the name of the URL, and let's see. By the way, this change is completely optional. You can just go ahead and publish with whatever they have suggested. So it's not mandatory. The URL is updated. Now your app is available with the path. Now they have another parameter to consider, which is app visibility. You can see public, login required, public, no login, and then workspace. Now we are building a portfolio site, which means people shouldn't have to log in order to see the site. Where do you need a login? Let's say you're building an inventory management dashboard for a warehouse somewhere. Now, only the employees of the warehouse should have access to the dashboard. In that case, you need login feature. But in this case, I don't need a login feature. So I'm going to go for public, no login, and click on publish app. Fantastic. So now my app is live. This is the live link that I have. I can click on copy. Let's open this app and see how it is. and you have published your first app ever. It looks pretty polished, it looks beautiful. Of course, you can make a lot of changes here, but this URL can be shared with anyone, and anyone who has the URL can come and access this site. So you have created your first app ever, first site ever, and you can see how beautifully it works. It is nice. At the bottom, you get to see edit with Base44. Because we are in a free plan, that badge will remain, and so you would have to pay in order to remove that badge. Now, I want to quickly show you how to make changes to an app that is already published. And I also want to tell you a distinction between preview app and a published app. Now, what you're seeing here in the project is basically the preview of what is going to be published but not yet published. And what you see here in the URL is a published app. I'll show you what the difference is like. So let's say we want to remove this learn more button again. I click on it, I click on delete, right? And I click on save. The change is implemented, the button is removed, which means my preview is now reflecting my most current version here. However, if you go to the published app and refresh it, it will not have that change yet because we have not published the updated version yet. And so this is the difference between preview and publish. When you're making changes to the project and you want those changes to be reflected on the live app, you have to come to this publish button, and now you can click on publish app again, and this will publish the latest changes into the app. So if I go back to this app here and I refresh this, now the learn more button is gone. So this is how you can make changes to an app that is already published. It's very easy to do it from this Base44 tool. You can simply make the changes via chat, via visual edit, and then go ahead and publish the latest updates there. Now in the beginning of the video, I told you that I'll show you how the credits are getting used. Now let's look at how these credits were used. We had 3 prompts in total. We had 1 portfolio site, and I can get the credit usage view in my account. So you go to settings and you will see this page here called as credit usage. And in this credit usage, you will get to see the monthly messages limit. Now I have a limit of 25 and they have counted 2 messages. So that is my first prompt, and the second prompt to change. Visual edit did not get accounted for in the monthly message. So that's interesting. And I have got 23 messages remaining for the rest of the month. So this could be a useful hack for you, that if you want to make certain visual changes, just use visual edits instead of writing a follow prompt, and you can save on the monthly message credits. The second thing is workspace usage. Now workspace usage is interesting because that's also counting the monthly messages, and in case you have multiple projects, so if you just started portfolio site, tomorrow you are going to make another app, all the message credits are still at the account level. So even if you create 3 or 4 apps, you still have the 25 limit. You don't get 25 per project. So you have to be aware of that. The third thing is daily messages. Now, on top of the monthly message, you also have a daily message. So on a daily basis, you can only do 5. Now, this is the real limitation of a free plan. Once you start building these apps, you will notice that 2 messages and 5 messages are not enough. And that is where you feel the need for paid plan. And the integration credits. Now, integration credits is something like if you connect a database or if you connect an email notification service, then they will charge you for certain integration. So that's the end of this video. I hope this was helpful to you as a beginner. And if there were certain concepts that you did not understand and would like to know more about it, let me know in the comments. On this channel, I make a mix of videos. I do product reviews and I also do tutorials, especially for AI tools. So if that's something that's interesting to you, then you may want to subscribe. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.